In 2003, a new species of snailfish was found in the Mariana Trench at a depth of 8,200 meters below sea level. It can survive at such extreme depths because of special adaptations that allow it to live under high pressure, low temperatures, and without any oxygen. And all this in an environment where sunlight cannot penetrate. This is incredible, isn't it? But there are many more amazing facts that we will tell you about this fish in today's video. So let's get started. Before we begin, be sure to hit that like button for more videos about the deep sea. Now let's get back to the snailfish. The snailfish belongs to the family of ray-finned fishes and the order of Perciformes. In total, there are about 400 species of these fish known to science, which make up about 10% of all fish species in our oceans. All snailfish have a very unusual shape with an elongated body and small scales. They don't have a swim bladder, but they have a very large liver, which is used for buoyancy control. Depending on the species, they can reach different sizes. For example, the maximum size of the red sea perch is only 6 inches or 15 centimeters, while the bluefin trevally can grow up to 9 feet or 2.7 meters in length. This is almost the size of a white shark. Among the snailfish, there are both predatory individuals and those that feed on plankton. There are also species that eat bottom silt, filtering out small invertebrates from it. The snailfish lives in all parts of the world's oceans at different depths. Most of them prefer to stay closer to the surface, but some species have adapted to the complete absence of oxygen and live in the so-called anaerobic basins. The most famous of these basins is the Black Sea. The snailfish found there has even been given its own name, the Black Sea golomyanka. This fish breathes not with gills, but with its skin, which is why it doesn't need oxygen. To be more precise, this fish absorbs molecular hydrogen sulfide, which is why it can be found not only in the Black Sea but also in other similar bodies of water around the world. Another remarkable property of the golomyanka is that it is able to produce energy without the need for oxygen. This ability is called anaerobic glycolysis. It's used by our muscles when sprinting or climbing a hill, for example. But unlike the snailfish, humans can only use this ability for a few seconds. We have already mentioned that the snailfish can live at great depths, but there is one species that surpasses all others in this regard. This is the Mariana Snailfish, which was discovered in 2003 during the joint Russian-American expedition in the Mariana Trench. At first, scientists thought that it would take years to find a specimen at the surface. But luck smiled at the researchers, and just 2 days after the start of the expedition, they managed to catch a few live specimens at a depth of 8,200 meters below sea level. That's deeper than any other fish ever found. Moreover, at that depth, the pressure is more than 1,000 times higher than at the surface. The temperature there is only 1 degree Celsius. To put it simply, there can't be life there. At least that's what scientists used to think. But the snailfish turned out to be tougher than we all imagined. At such great depths, no sunlight can get through. Therefore, the snailfish, like other deep-sea inhabitants, is devoid of pigmentation. Scientists have found that this fish has a special protein that allows it to withstand incredible pressures. If you compare it with the structure of a human cell, then our bones are much weaker than those of the snailfish. This is due to the fact that deep-sea fish have fewer air bubbles in their cells than their shallow water counterparts. The gases dissolved in water at depth are mainly nitrogen, helium, and methane. And since the snailfish cells contain a lot of these gases, it can easily withstand the pressure of thousands of tons per square meter. What's more, the snailfish skeleton is made entirely of cartilage, which is even stronger than bone. We know that whales, which also live under enormous pressure, have a similar skeleton. But unlike whales, the snailfish is not afraid of cold. Its body temperature can drop to 0 degrees Celsius, but it will still remain active. Scientists believe this is possible thanks to the fish's unique enzymes, which do not slow down at such low temperatures. These enzymes work even at -2 degrees Celsius. It's hard to believe, but the Mariana snailfish spawns in the same way as other fish. Its eggs are slightly larger than the eggs of the bluefin trevally, measuring about 1 millimeter in diameter. However, there is one big difference. Unlike most fish eggs, the snailfish eggs do not have a shell. Because of this, the eggs are very fragile and can only develop at a depth of 2,600 meters, where the pressure is 260 atmospheres. Here, the eggs are pressed against the rocks, which makes it possible for them to develop. However, when the eggs rise to the surface, they immediately burst. Adult snailfish can breathe only because they have specialized proteins that bind oxygen molecules and release them throughout the body. Scientists believe that if these proteins were less efficient, the snailfish could die. On the contrary, if they worked better, the fish would use up all the oxygen around it in less than 3 minutes. In the diet of the Mariana snailfish, plankton plays an important role, although they have to go quite deep for it. Since no light can penetrate such a depth, scientists believe that the snailfish navigate using their inner ear. The hearing of these fish is so sensitive that they can hear the sounds of crustaceans clicking their shells and easily find them. As for predators, the snailfish has no natural enemies. Some fishermen sometimes catch these fish as an accidental catch, but this happens quite rarely. And perhaps that's for the best, because taking even one snailfish from its habitat is very difficult. After all, it's found at a depth of more than 8,000 meters below sea level. You may be wondering how long the snailfish can live. Judging by the analysis of layers of transparent tissue near the fish's eyes, scientists believe that the Mariana snailfish lives only 4 or 5 years. Also, judging by the structure of its ear bones, scientists concluded that it reaches maturity in about 2 years. The age of other types of snailfish can vary from several months to 10 years. In general, scientists have studied the snailfish quite well, but there are still many mysteries about it. For example, we still don't know how it manages to spawn at such great depths. All we know is that female snailfish carry eggs in their bellies until they burst. Then the eggs sink to the bottom and fertilization occurs outside the female's body. Perhaps the biggest mystery of the Mariana snailfish is the reason why it can survive at such extreme depths. To solve this mystery, scientists have been trying for many years to bring the snailfish to the surface. It's necessary to do this very carefully so as not to harm the fish. And finally, in 2009, scientists from Japan managed to raise one live specimen to the surface. A year later, they repeated this experiment, but this time they released the fish back into its natural habitat after filming it. Unfortunately, after that, the snailfish began to die en masse. Perhaps the fish were already used to being handled by humans and didn't realize how dangerous it was. After all, before that, people had never even seen this fish. One dead specimen eventually ended up in the Institute of Marine Research in the city of Shimonoseki. Japanese scientists conducted an autopsy and found that the fish had no internal cavities. The walls of its stomach and intestines were also unusually thick. It turned out that the snailfish swallowed sand and kept it in its stomach. Scientists believe that over time, this sand could turn into a protective shell, protecting the fish from predators. After a couple of years, scientists came to the conclusion that the snailfish actually eats bacteria that form on the surface of underwater volcanoes. These bacteria produce hydrogen sulfide, which the snailfish needs to survive. It seems that now we know almost everything about this fish. But who knows? Maybe someday scientists will discover new and even more amazing properties of the snailfish. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, be sure to give it a like. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on the most interesting videos about the deep sea. See you soon. Bye.